Have you ever bought that outfit that seemed perfect in the store but later became a bitter regret in your closet? I know exactly how that feels. I've made that mistake several times myself, and I'm sure you have too. You know, it's funny how we get swept up by trends, irresistible sales, or even that enthusiastic saleswoman's advice. But in the end, we end up with pieces that don't flatter us, are uncomfortable, or worse yet, completely out of line with our style. Then they just sit there, forgotten, taking up space and bringing that heavy feeling of regret. And let me tell you, this regret isn't exclusive to the fashion world. It's like Becky Bloom in Confessions of a Shopaholic, when she buys that insanely expensive scarf knowing full well she can't afford it, but convinces herself she needs it to become a new woman. The result? A mix of guilt and frustration. We do the same thing with certain clothes. We buy them, try to wear them, but deep down we know it was a mistake. If we don't stop to think, we end up repeating this cycle. Whether it's with a sequin dress that never leaves the closet, or that leather jacket that looks amazing in the store but has nothing to do with our real style. I'm Carol, and here on the Lucrative Elegance channel, we're in this together to avoid these style traps and turn our choices into profitable elegance. Because, let's face it, the last thing we want is to waste time and money on pieces that don't flatter us, right? Did you know that 85% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel? That's right. Most of the women who are looking to learn how to be more elegant aren't yet part of this amazing community. If you want to avoid more regrets and truly elevate your style, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a like. After all, elegance and success go hand in hand. Shall we avoid these regrets together? 1. Fantasy style. Pieces. How many times have you caught yourself longing for that perfect outfit you saw on Instagram or Pinterest? The truth is, online fashion is a real showcase of dreams, or better yet, fantasies. The problem begins when these fantasies make their way into our wardrobe and end up just sitting there. It's like watching Sex and the City and thinking you can live Carrie Bradshaw's glamorous life every day. She struts around New York in high heels and fabulous clothes, but in our daily lives, taking the subway or facing traffic makes wearing stilettos a real sacrifice. What looks chic on screen quickly turns into torture in real life. And let's be honest, no one wants to suffer for fashion. It's like buying that super trendy, oversized blazer that Olivia Palermo wore to a fashion event, but you work in a regular office or need to chase after your kids. Fashion in practice needs to keep up with your lifestyle. If it doesn't, it becomes a burden, both literally and emotionally. Have you ever stopped to think that sometimes your wardrobe is trying to live a life that isn't yours? These fantasy pieces are part of a cycle that deceives us. Online, it seems like everyone is always in the perfect outfit, at the right place. But the truth is, these images are carefully curated, almost like a soap opera. And our day-to-day, it's full of real-life commitments, where what truly matters is comfort and functionality. 2. The invisible discomfort. How many times have you bought a beautiful piece of clothing, only to barely wear it because the discomfort is unbearable? Itchy fabrics, clothes that squeeze in all the wrong places, or even a jacket that restricts your movement. These are easy mistakes to make, but they often turn into silent regrets in your wardrobe. I, for example, am in love with tweed. I think it brings an air of timeless elegance. But I've made some disastrous choices with this fabric. It's heavy, hot, and often so itchy that wearing it feels like torture. I have a tweed coat that I aesthetically adore, but in practice, I almost never wear it. It's like a museum piece, beautiful but untouchable. So, why keep something like that in the closet? Have you ever bought something gorgeous but it's so uncomfortable or painful that it just stays tucked away? It's the same logic as buying party dresses that you can only wear once. Imagine spending a fortune on a stunning dress for a wedding, only to realize later that it's not suitable for any other occasion. In the end, it just leads to more frustration. And what do? Leave it forgotten in the closet, or try to wear it in ways that don't make sense? Clothes that don't fit multiple aspects of your life end up being a burden, not an investment. The solution? Tailor your choices to comfort and versatility. An elegant midi dress can be worn to a party with the right accessory, but also in everyday life with a denim jacket and sneakers, or a light blouse that works for both a formal event and a casual outing. Comfort is just as important as style. The most beautiful piece of clothing in the world is worthless if you don't feel good wearing it. Are the clothes in your wardrobe truly improving your life? At the end of the day, your clothes should make your routine easier, not complicate it. If a dress or coat only brings discomfort or is limited to one specific occasion, maybe it's time to rethink that kind of purchase. After all, true elegance is wearing something that not only enhances your look, but also brings ease and comfort to your everyday life. The danger of maybe. When shopping, how many times have you left a store with a piece that was almost perfect, but not quite what you wanted? Exactly. Saying maybe when shopping for clothes is almost always a guaranteed mistake. If it's not an absolute yes, then it's a no. And this principle is more powerful than it seems. It's like a relationship. When you meet someone deep down, you know whether they're right for you or not. If it starts with doubts, with little things that bother you, time will only make those feelings stronger. The same thing happens with fashion. That piece you buy with hesitation, hoping it might work or will be fine later, will most likely end up sitting in your closet, leading to frustration. Did the saleswoman say it looked great? Does the store's lighting help? And yet, you still have doubts? Then don't buy it. If you can't see yourself confidently wearing that item in 3 different situations, why buy it at all? It's like watching Emily in Paris and seeing Emily wearing those super extravagant outfits on the streets of Paris. They look flawless in the context of the show, but do they really make sense for your everyday life? Or take Revenge, where Emily Thorne wears glamorous, dramatic dresses perfect for the Hamptons, but they're far from functional in real life. Often, we get swept up by the atmosphere surrounding the purchase, whether it's the store's vibe, the service, or the pressure of finally finding what we were looking for, and end up taking home something we already know, deep down, we won't wear. 4. The impact of colors on your style. Colors have a huge influence on how we feel and how others perceive us. But have you ever noticed how we sometimes get swept up by a trend and end up buying something in a color that just doesn't vibe with us? It's a common mistake, and here's why. You know when a certain color becomes the it shade of the season and starts popping up in all the store windows and influencer outfits? We feel like we need to have that color too, but we don't stop to consider whether it actually suits our style or even our skin tone. Have you ever bought something just because it was trendy, only to realize later that you never felt good wearing it? It's like when neon orange took over the fashion world. We saw that color everywhere, but the truth is, it's not for everyone. Many women bought into it, thinking they'd look amazing, but in everyday life, this vibrant color ended up overwhelming their personality. And it's not just about skin tone, it's also about your personality. For example, a more introverted woman might not feel comfortable in such a bold color. Imagine Grace Kelly, always so classic and understated, wearing something neon? It doesn't make sense, right? She was all about elegant tones like beige, white, and colors that reflected her calm and poised nature. The same goes for us. What we wear should reflect who we are. Are you dressing for your personality or to follow the season's trend? Fashion is cyclical and colors come and go, but your essence, that stays. So, when choosing a new piece, think about whether that color will fit into what you already have in your wardrobe, and more importantly, whether it aligns with who you are. 5. Climate versus style. One of the biggest mistakes we make when buying clothes is ignoring the climate we live in. Who hasn't been seduced by a beautiful piece, only to realize it's completely impractical for the heat or cold in their city? I've made this mistake many times with wool coats. They're iconic, stylish, and add an amazing chic touch. But what about their actual use? If you live somewhere hot, like I do, where the sun shines nearly year-round, that coat becomes more decorative than practical. And it's not just about that. Buying an expensive piece like a wool coat and wearing it only a few times a year doesn't make sense. After all, if the cost is high, you should be able to wear it frequently to justify the investment. Now let's be realistic. How many times a year can you actually wear something so heavy and warm in a tropical climate? How many items in your closet are there because you bought them for a special occasion, but they almost never see the light of day? It's like when we see influencers in New York or Paris rocking those perfect blazers, layers of jackets, and boots. But our reality is often quite different. In the heat of my city, for example, a wool coat makes no sense. Style needs to align with the environment, and that doesn't mean giving up elegance. It means adapting your choices to the climate and your daily routine. Does your wardrobe reflect the place where you really live? Or is it trying to replicate a reality that isn't yours, instead of buying pieces that will just collect dust in your closet, like those wool coats? Why not invest in items that work for your everyday life? Personally, I love lightweight shirts. They're breathable, versatile, and perfect for hot weather. Pieces like linen or cotton shirts add that touch of refinement without making you melt in the heat. 6. Practicality is essential. When it comes to building a functional wardrobe, practicality is everything. Have you ever thought about how many beautiful clothes you've bought only to leave them hanging in your closet because they're too difficult to maintain? The charm of a piece can quickly fade when it requires a marathon of effort just to wear or care for it. Take those shirts, for example, that need to be ironed before every wear. They look amazing in the store, but in reality, who has the time or patience to iron clothes every day? The same goes for delicate fabrics that need special care, like hand washing or drying flat. You didn't buy a piece piece to spend your life maintaining it, right? If a piece of clothing requires more care than you're willing to give, is it really worth the investment? Think about knitwear, for example. I love it, but the effort it takes to care for it feels like having a museum piece that you can only wear on special occasions. Knitwear often piles up in the laundry room because not every day do you have the energy for the hand washing and careful drying process. Sound like an exaggeration? Now imagine dealing with that for every piece in your wardrobe. It's the same with a dress that has a tricky zipper or buttons you can't fasten on your own. They're gorgeous for a photo, but how practical are they? It's like those elaborate costumes in period films. Beautiful on screen, but impractical in real life. You need clothes that match your pace, not pieces that turn your routine into a constant battle to keep everything in place. Have you ever bought something that, in reality, was more work than enjoyment? In the end, what truly makes a difference are the easy, versatile pieces that you can wear without hassle. After all, real elegance lies in smart simplicity, not in burdening yourself with clothes that demand more effort than they give in style. Here's an important question. How many pieces in your wardrobe are sitting unused because they were impulse buys, purchased in the heat of the moment, because of a trend, or simply because it seemed like a good idea at the time? Now, they're just there, gathering regrets. It's amazing how often this happens, right? But if you want to break this pattern, rethink your purchases, and make sure each piece serves a purpose in your wardrobe, you need to stay mindful of your style, your climate, and practicality. In fact, practicality is the key word. Clothes that bother you, limit you, or only work for one specific occasion. It's time to change that. Let's recap what we covered today. We talked about how to avoid pieces that only lead to regret, from clothes that don't fit your climate to fabrics that hurt and colors that dull your shine. Also that each purchase hits the mark, enhancing your style and daily life. If you're on this journey to be more elegant and want to succeed in your style, subscribe to the channel now and leave a like. Because elegance is profitable. And more, comment below. Elegance is practical and smart if this content resonated with you. This is the key to building a wardrobe that truly works and flatters you. If you really want to avoid other style mistakes that sabotage your elegance, you can't miss the video on the elegance mistakes you must avoid. After all, there's no point in eliminating the wrong pieces from your wardrobe if you're still making other missteps that keep you from being truly elegant and confident. Want to avoid more regrets? Click the link and watch the next video. Now tell me, what was the last piece you regretted buying? Let's avoid these mistakes together. See you in the next video.